Well, we're gonna just roll with it. I do well with that. And today's topic, as you can already tell, is we're gonna focus on change and how we handle change. Change does not be overwhelming. It does not need to be debilitating, and it isn't something that you need to fear. So, going to try to get on here so that we can have our comments showing up on my iPad, and because I really want your feedback today. It's really important that we are, first of all, in order to make adjustments in our life, we have to analyze where we're at and how we go about things. And also, if you're joining me and you've been affected by the storms, please let me know so that we can pray for you. And as people are gathering and getting in here in the Zoom session and joining us, I'm going to also say a prayer for everybody. We may be interrupted here a little bit with some extra noise. Yeah, everything went live way sooner than I had intended, but it's all good. All right, I'm going to say a prayer here. Okay, we got Miss Vicky joining in on the Zoom. I'm not sure if Miss Laura was attempting to do the same. All right, I'm gonna start us off. Good morning, Miss Vicky. I am gonna start us off with a prayer. Papa, I just thank you for this morning, this beautiful weather, this life that we are blessed to live and embrace every day. I just ask that you guide and direct my words this morning and be with us this morning. But more than anything, I ask that you wrap your loving arms around all those affected by the storm and all those that are en route or there trying to aid and help those that have been affected. Such devastation, and I know that your hand is present. I know that you are working. We have pulled you out of everything, or so much anyway, in our world, and I just want to pull you back in today. Wrap your loving arms around all those that need it, all those that are supporting them. Guide and direct people's paths, provide for all their needs, and just thank you for what you're doing in each of our lives. Thank you for the abundance, the blessings, the trials, because through the trials we learn so much. And I just ask that your presence be seen. Your presence is so vibrant in my life, and I pray that everyone else has the opportunity to see your visible hand in their day-to-day lives. So thank you for this time. Thank you for being present. We demand all evil out of all the technology in the name of Jesus, and just thank you for what you're going to do for each of us today. We ask all of this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, my friends. So, we've been talking about faith over fear. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I've got some background noise this morning. If you could just let me know that you are able to hear me, that would be great. But we've been talking about a lot of different subjects, and I am live streaming on Faith-Led Living. I am live streaming on Faith-Led Healing. Regardless if we are on a healing journey or not, how we embrace our lives is very vital to our health and wellness, and also enables us to live a life worth living. And it's really important, as you hear me speak. Okay, good. Thank you, Vicki. You hear me every week sharing the importance of being balanced spiritually, mentally, emotionally, to enable us to have good physical balance in our lives. And in order for us to heal and to be healthy, we need to be spiritually, mentally, and emotionally in place. Thank you, Miss Laura. So that is why I talk about these things. That is why I share on a variety of different subjects, you know, as I've mentioned, in the faith-led healing arena, and it'll be, you know, broadcast for faith-led living as well. All this stuff is pertinent. Knowing how to care for ourselves and to heal ourselves in unfortunate circumstances, in circumstances where maybe the medical system may not be available, you know, knowing how to be in tune with our bodies to understand what is going on so that we can help ourselves. But that starts with the mind. That starts with how we handle our day-to-day lives, how we live our lives out. And, you know, you've heard me over the last 2-3 weeks talking about how our world is in a chaotic place. And it's true. Right now, you know, there is a lot of dysfunction in our world. There is an election upon us, and these election years get really squirrely, and that's just a normal encounter. Then you add in, you know, what's going on in 2024 and what's been going on for the last 4 years. It adds anxiety, it adds fear, it adds change. And we need to be able to learn how to walk in that place and live out of that space successfully and well. So share with me today in the chat, how do you handle change? Do you celebrate change? Do you handle change with ease and just trust that there's purpose in it? Do you have great anxiety with change? It's just something really good to analyze, to pay attention to be aware of. Awareness leads to growth, I feel, greatly. You know, when we can be aware of how we experience things, how we react to things, that is a pivotal point for each of us to be able to know what we can do for ourselves. And that is one of the things I want to point out today. I am trying to find something that I wanted to share with you guys. Here we go. So I want to share a quote with you by Mandy Hale. Change can be scary, but you know what's scarier? Allowing fear to stop you from growing, evolving, and progressing. Life is a constant change, and I think that that's a progression, and I think that that's important. You know, we personally should always be changing and always wanting to improve, to grow, and fear plays a role in this. That's why we are talking about change, because we talked about fear last week. Fear of change is huge for many people. Miss Vicky says, change is difficult for me to handle. I need time to process it. Then I can accept it and see the good in it. And that's a good transition as well, is that you take the time to process it. You know, some things are good to sit and fester on, and to sit and analyze, acknowledge. You know, some people dive in with both feet sometimes and don't take the time to process things. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. Good morning, Miss Laura. So I think that it's really important that we don't allow fear to keep us from growing, evolving, and progressing. I like change. I also process change. But I used to be I shared with you, very fearful of a lot of things. And I watch my son, or did watch my son. This isn't any longer the case because of just the way I roll with things and flow with things. But any form of change when he was young as a result of his autism would cause great upheaval, like extreme upheaval. Like if let's just say, for example, he was in school and all of a sudden there was an assembly that wasn't announced the day before. Total upheaval, total meltdown, total just anxiety because of the change. And that can be, as he is the example, moved past. And we have so much control over those moments in our lives, that anxiety, that complete overwhelm, that complete debilitation. And it just takes practice, just like everything else I'm teaching you. Fear is from the enemy. And when we learn that, and we learn that fear is not, fear in a survival situation is healthy because it alerts us of something that we need to be aware of and something that we need to transition through. But fear of your day-to-day things can be so debilitating. And we need to learn how to utilize fear as a springboard, as a catalyst, and to learn to progress ourselves through it. And I think that that's what Vicky does in her circumstance, is that although you may feel it's difficult, you take that time to process it, and you do move through it, and you do move to a place where you can see things a whole lot clearer. Miss Laura, you look like you lost like another 10 pounds. There's not going to be much of you left soon. I love it. I love it. You look great. You look great. So I'm talking to Laura on my Zoom screen because that's one of the benefits of our special access community, is that being part of the special access community, we go face to face. So if you're joining me on YouTube, I'm thankful that you are here. I'm trying to have free options as well as paid options, because the paid option allows me to really dive deep with my, I'm going to call them family. This is my family, and also enables them to ask me some really personal, deep, needed questions that they can ask me face to face each week. So you have the option to join also, faithledhealing.com/community. That will take you to the option of being a part of my free community on Circle, as well as signing up for the special access. And then you too can join me face to face. And also, just so you're aware, I also do a breathwork session directly following this every week at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the benefit of that is tremendous self-care. It helps you to break down anxiety, fear, worry, trauma that's been built up in the body, and just gives you that all-over feeling of a deep massage at the other side of the hour, and you learn how to use your breath as a healing tool. So you can sign up for that by going to faithledhealing.com/calendar. My Zoom participants are also my breathwork participants, and they can tell you firsthand how amazing and what they've gained by doing the weekly breathwork sessions with me. It is a tremendous tool. It's built in for all you survivalists and preparedness people out there. It has no weight to it. You don't have to carry it with you because it's already something you're packing, and it is one of our most valuable tools. So if you do deal with fear and worry and anxiety, PTSD, and even chronic illnesses of any kind, health issues of any kind, our breath is that powerful that it can remove your pains, progress you through on your healing journey, help you to detox. So it is a very, very powerful tool. Miss Vicky says, I'm so happy for you, Laura, losing weight. I'm having really bad swelling in left knee and both ankles. Have ice on knee now, really slows down starting exercise, even hurts to walk. Prayers appreciated. I will be reaching out to you later, Miss Vicky, and we will be keeping you in prayer, but I will reach out to you with some things you can do to alleviate the pains that you are experiencing right now. And your breath work today will help with the inflammation. So yes, that is tremendous. And I'm gonna kind of hone in right on that now. That's a change in Vicky's life. And you're very welcome. And change looks very different to us all. It could be a new job. It could be the loss of a job. It could be becoming an empty nester. It could become a new health issue. It could become a returning health issue. It could be a lot of different things. Change looks very different for each of us, and it comes at very different times in our life. But change does not have to be debilitating and scary. Again, I'm going to share this: surrounding yourself with the right people in your walk of life also makes change a lot more doable, in that you have people to bounce things off of. You have people to come to ask for prayer, to support you, to even guide you. Um, so often we go through life and we try to handle everything ourselves because it's what we've been taught, that's what we know, that's how we found um, success in the past, because we didn't have people on our side. We didn't know how to handle change because it's not something you were taught growing up. That's a really valid point also. Many of us grew up watching the adults in our life not knowing how to handle change, that they would freak out, that they would be debilitated, that they would be rocking in a corner for days, weeks, trying to peruse the change that happened in their lives. And as a result of that, it's something that you've learned. Please remember, and we're going to be talking so much more about this, to do a little self-analyzation and think about where the things we believe and the things that we live out, where they come from. The example I always give is that we are taught that we need to work the hustle, bustle, fast pace. We need to work our entire lives till we hit retirement so that we can enjoy life. And then we all get to that place and we are broken and unable and unhealthy because we chased a life that wasn't worth living. That is not a truth. That is not how we all have to march and how we have to beat to that drum. So when it comes to how you process change or anything in your life, analyze where that comes from for you. How you handle change. Is it because of what I just described, that you were watching somebody else handling change very poorly? That's oftentimes, where things stem from. The other thing is not having the support to walk through change, so we kind of define our own method of getting through it, and that can be doing it on our own, or muddling through it, or fearfully traversing it. And like I said, fear comes from the enemy, and faith comes from the one above. The key thing with change is the same as I talked about a couple weeks ago: finding your peace and your joy by being directly connected with the source, Jesus, ourselves, y'all, the rest of the world. Keeping that connection. I know firsthand for myself, when I do not get my daily time with God, it throws me off, like big time. Not, it'll be a progression. We are, this season in our life is very different. And we are traversing days that are much busier than my liking. And I haven't been able to keep my regular self-care schedule. And I am feeling it. And that is a real testament to me of how valuable and how important that is. And for me, I just start to feel off kilter. I start feeling like my battery is dying. And it's not that I don't have energy. It's a heart thing. It's a soul thing. It's a spirit thing. I need that connection. So I want to just share with you. I am in a season of unsteady ground. I am fully having to trust in Papa in every aspect of what I'm walking out right now, as is my family. And we'll share more on this later. But I am fully having to trust him. And if you know me or have been following me for any length of time, You know that that is how I roll. I trust him 200% with wherever he is taking me, with whatever he is leading to. And I always ask him to show me. And his words were so valuable to me last night when I was really hunkering in and pulling into him. And I'm going to share this with you because I think this is very true for all of us. And that's usually why he shares things so deeply with me. This is Isaiah 14:24. The Lord of heaven's armies has sworn this oath. It will all happen as I have planned. It will be as I have decided. You know, he takes the fear and worry out of everything if we are trusting in him, if we are putting faith before our fear, like we talked about last week. He's already got it all planned out. That's why I can walk through life in a deep place of faith, because I know that he's working out every single detail, and I trust him to do that. Even with my deepest dreams and my deepest desires, I've grown to a place where those deepest desires and dreams, when they don't come to fruition the way I envision them to, I'm not disappointed, because I know that there's purpose in everything that he is walking me through, walking me to. And remember that whatever you are walking out right now, whether the good, the bad, or the ugly, if you are trusting in him, he will walk you from one side to the other. Will it be pretty always? No. I think of all these people that had a beautiful home, all their belongings, and within the snap of a finger, their home and their vehicles and all of their things floated away or was blown away. You know, change can happen in the blink of an eye. But his truths and his promises are always the same. And regardless what change or what it is that we're walking out, this plays such a big and valid role. It will all happen as I have planned. It will be as I have decided. And you know, I don't want to make light of the devastation that has just gone on in our world. There's devastation every day, somewhere on this planet. My family and I have walked out devastation in different ways. Though I would never change what I've had to walk out. And I know that these people that have walked out these hardships and these losses right now will get to a place in their life where they will be thankful for that season, because goodness came from it. And goodness comes from all of our seasons if we're willing to see that. And change is going to always happen. At what level? You know, that's the question. You know, change is inevitable. How we handle it is the valuable part to this whole equation. It's how we handle that change. So Laura says, those were just things. Exactly. But God is there to help those affected to pick up where they are, and he will bless them with more than they have lost if they will turn to him and trust him. Amen. The first thing that comes to my mind is Dave Canterbury and his family. I'm not sure how many years ago it was now. I'm thinking 4 or 5 years ago, they had a fire in their home and they lost everything. Valuables, collectibles, stuff. You know, they instantly viewed it as stuff because they all made it out okay. You know, God was in it because it was during the night. They were sleeping, but something woke them. I don't believe it was just something. That was Papa. They're here, there was purpose in it, and they've had their socks blessed off of them with abundance and blessings as a result of it. It was devastating, but they didn't skip a beat because their eyes were on him. And, you know, that is the important thing. There is a lot of change happening in our world today. One of the biggest things that we need to be able to see is God's hand in it and be pulling him into everything. If you do struggle with change, as soon as there's change, pull him into it. Ask him to guide you. Ask him to show you. Ask him to give you wisdom, knowledge, direction, and discernment. I promise you, he will provide all of that for you. But you need to be willing to seek him in that change. You know, in life, the only thing that we can change is ourselves. We can't control the happenings of the world. We can't control other people. We can't control Mother Nature. But we can control ourselves. And so often we forget that. And that is a big change that I want to encourage you all to put in place, is that if you are not aware of how you are handling things, start paying attention to things. A perfect example is if someone is, let's just say that someone is treating you poorly. There is nothing worse to me than giving that person power by allowing them to rattle my cage. You get that? We have control over that. You know, we are not defined by other people's dysfunction, and that dysfunction also applies to the world. We are not defined by the dysfunction of the world. We are not defined by the happenings around us. We are defined by what happens within us. So the sooner we learn how to be able to adjust ourselves to change and to anything that's happening around us, the healthier and the better we will be. So often we give things and circumstances and people so much more power than they deserve or should have. If we were focusing more on giving Papa that power, or that power within ourselves to be stronger, and you know, we are called to armor up every day. Ephesians 6, read it. It's a very powerful chapter. We are called to armor up every day. If we are armoring up, their arrows shouldn't be able to pierce our armor. Armoring up means surrounding ourselves, and for those of you that need a visual, you can take your pick. Either putting yourself in a bubble, you know, Jesus is wrapping you in his arms and his wings, or you are armored up with your sword in hand and all your armor, you're warriored up and you're taking on the day. Those visuals are really good reminders of what we can do for ourselves in a situation of change. Because if you are allowing change to debilitate you, to take you to your knees, to throw you off kilter, and granted, sometimes certain change hits hard. It's also important that we process it, experience the change, experience the emotions, process it like Vicki said, analyze the situation, see how you're handling it, see if it's something you can control. If it's something you can control and you can make a change to better the situation, great. The likelihood, though, is a lot of times the change we experience, we have no control over. So what do we have left to change? Ourselves. I would much rather make efforts to change myself than to allow myself to stop evolving and stop progressing and stop moving forward. That's so important. And that is one of the things you need to analyze. Are you going backwards? Are you stagnant and stuck? Or are you progressing forward? The other thing is how we see change. Because I know that God is always going to bring me to something better, even in my worst moments, I could still find joy in the change, joy in the upheaval, because of perspective. Perspective is everything. And when we can know that God is going to bring us through it, God is going to will likely take us to an amazing place. You know, it's just like death. So many people fear death. I celebrate it. For one, on Saturday, heaven got a tremendous soul. Dr. Gladys, who was 103, who I was hoping to get on my podcast, a brilliant mind, one of the first women holistic doctors. Her mom in the 1920s was the very first female doctor. She went to heaven. It saddened me greatly because I just came across her not that long ago, but she impacted my life. But we view everything in this world with fear. And we don't need to. I praise that because I will get to sit and visit with her in heaven. And heaven got a beautiful soul, and she impacted the earth. You know, perspective is everything, and changing how we look at things, changing how we handle things, so vital. Laura says if we change our heart, then our whole world will change. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, so many people are like, how can I love other people when much of the world is rotten? Right there is how. We change our own hearts, and it enables us to love out of a place of it's a deep love. It's a pure love to be able to also love ourselves. And I know that Miss Laura is beginning to transition to a place where she looks in the mirror and she loves who she sees. And I transitioned to that place too. Exactly. She's pointing up. And that's it. And you know what? God gets glorified in all of these things that we talk about, because as we are changing, I might be planting seeds, I might be guiding you in these places, but it's through your deep walk with God, and the deeper the walk you create and the more you seek Him, the more you will get where I am, the more you will transition out of these places of fear, these places of fear of change, these places of debilitation and being stagnant and also afraid to move forward, you know. So if you are in that place, you're not alone, and I'm not shaming you for being in a place to be afraid of change. As I said, that attribute comes from a lot of different things. Life's experiences create that place for many people. I have a friend, this just blows me away, who is deathly afraid of butterflies and birds. You know why? Because her mother would run screaming her head off anytime there was a butterfly or a bird nearby. So she is scared to death of them. To me, I'm enamored by them. I don't know if you can hear them. They're like all around me. Butterflies land on me. Like, I celebrate that. That's just another sign from God. But that is a fear that was learned. And in our world today, our world dictates fear. Our world wants us in a place of fear. And that's the enemy. If we are afraid, we are controlled, right? We witnessed that over the last 4 years, right? We don't have to be afraid. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of anything. However, as I shared last week, I used to be afraid of a lot of things. And I'm praising God that through my healing journey, fear, worry, anxiety, all of those things left me. Now, I'm going to add this to the equation just because it's been prevalent. I'm an empath, so what that means is I feel things. If somebody's hurting, I can pick up on their emotions and I feel it too. And there has been such an extreme heaviness that I have been feeling for the last week and a half. Just heavy, heavy, heavy. And, you know, I know the rest of you are feeling that. And, you know, that is, I believe, truly because we are under spiritual attack. This is a spiritual war we are experiencing in our world. And the heaviness we are feeling is the good versus evil that is battling around us. And some of it we can change, some of it we can't. That heaviness can be removed by changing your relationship with the source. Changing the connection with God, improving the connection with God. It's just like, let's just use a flashlight popped in my head. If a flashlight's connection to the battery is either corroded or something got jiggled loose, the light isn't very bright. And that is exactly what happens to us. As I said earlier, you know, when I don't have that connection with God, I feel like my battery is draining. And that's exactly, you know, when you feel that heaviness and you feel those weights, you know, it's a valid thing. We are watching a lot of things happening in our world. But again, you know, as these things change in our world, we do have control of how we feel, how we react. To get rid of the feeling of the heaviness that you feel, get out your Bible and read it. Listen to something positive. Listen to praise music. Go to faithledhealing.com/playlist and you will find my playlist that I give to my clients to help change their mood, their mindset, their focus. Pull into the source. Get connected with people that can help you. If you're really, really, really struggling with the changes you're experiencing in your life right now, you know, as I said, some people are losing their jobs, some people have lost their homes. There's constant change. If you are having a hard time doing it by yourself, get in our community because you will find post after post in there and communications and people that are going to be able to nurture where you're at. And that is a priceless thing in a world that's ever changing, is to have that connection. I'm going to jump off of YouTube right now. I thank you all for joining. I can see that we have a good number of people joining, and I'm very thankful for that. I hope this was helpful for you. Get in the comments, share, you know, your thoughts on what I've been sharing. If you have topics that you want me to cover, let me know. I've got a lot of topics upcoming that are going to really guide you through the seasons of life we are all walking out right now. And I also will be doing a deep dive into symptoms and means of helping you to be more in tune with your body and helping you to be able to take better care of yourself as well. And this is the start of it. We need to be able to start here and here. And that's why I am talking about the things I am. Plus, I know that right now in this world, there are a lot of hurting people for a lot of different reasons. So get connected with God, and please know that I am keeping you all in my prayers every day. Our community is held high in my family's prayers because we are being brought together with great purpose. Hello, Miss Mill. Good morning. I'm glad you're here. You were heavy on my mind this morning and on my to-be texted list for later. So I'm going to jump off of YouTube and just chat with my Zoom group here. So get in the community, faithledhealing.com/community. If you're struggling heavily with the changes in the world and need somebody to talk to, get on my calendar, faithledhealing.com/calendar. All right. I love you all. God bless.